clean pockets too.
Look at this thing. More cat. Put the shell in. Do you have an automatic? Put this cat in there somewhere. Oh yeah. No, something happened. What? The E is showing up. It's error.
It's filling up pretty quick. Right?
There you go. Well, now we have to document it. I think it's slowing down. Is it raining? It seems like it's raining inside.
All right, so we have the carpet is wet, and this couch got all wet underneath the couch. Yeah. One of our books, that's what I'm doing. The wine rack. Yeah. Pillow sham, which is in the tub.
So, you know, the rain keeps going. So you're gonna have to take it out. Keep that.
No, I'm calling stuff on the
And
Lightning
if not,
strikes,
that's a
you
rehearsal.
never know.
Can you
What? Stop schlepping.
sit up a little higher? Okay.
God, I wish my face would wake up.
Slap.
Later.
In the indulgence.
Right.
Right.
Rope bondage.
I should take this jacket off.
Expression she made. Everybody practices.
Who's that?
Cat, she was talking about GMS,
All right.
the GMSMA
Rope
Expo.
bondage, hot wax and pinching.
Okay.
Right when she went.
Yeah, back and
And up.
okay. Ready?
In and up.
5, 4, 3.
Hi, welcome to the Gay Catholic Hour. My name is Chris Capiello.
And I'm Will Berger, filling in for Kathy Carter.
Yes, the lovely and talented Kathy Carter has taken this month off, and instead we have our lovely and talented roving reporter with us this month. We have a jam-packed show this month, I believe. What do we have going on here?
Oh, lots. Oh,
What the hell are we
what
supposed
do
to
you
talk
want
about?
to talk about? Oh, sorry, this isn't the opera. Recitar.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Ready?
Oh, yes. We were born ready.
5, 4, 3.
Hi, welcome to the Gay Catholic Hour. I'm Chris Capiello.
And I'm Will Berger, filling in for Kathy Carter.
Yes, the lovely and talented Kathy Carter has taken this month off. And instead we have our roving reporter, Will Berger, here with us. Will has written a new book, which we will talk about later on. We'll
Try and stop me.
Try to pry it out of him.
Yes.
But more on that later.
And we also have Christmas coming up. And despite the fact that we, unlike all of Fifth Avenue, have not yet completed our Christmas decorations, we do have a lot to tell you about for some fun things we're doing for Christmas. And what are we doing for Christmas, Chris?
Well, funny you should ask. Dignity New York is having a Christmas Eve Mass at Judson Memorial Church on Washington Square. That will begin at 7 o'clock, and there will be carols from 6:45 on before Mass.
And I promise not to sing, but if you need any more information beyond that, just call our number, which will show at the end of the program.
Yes, but we do have a jam-packed show tonight, I believe. We will begin with a segment on Our Lady of Guadalupe. The feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe is December 12th, and we have a wonderful piece that was put together for a show a couple years ago. We're going to replay it for you now, and I believe Will has a little bit more to say about that.
Yes, and La Virgen de la Guadalupe es imagen más importante de todos en la Iglesia del Nuevo Mundo. Representa la unión de las diversas culturas en una gente unida, que celebren la fiesta el 12 de diciembre con nosotros.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
5, 4, 3.
We'd like to take a moment, as we always do, to explain to our new viewers who dignity is, or, in fact, what dignity is not, because there do seem to be some misconceptions out there.
Oh, yes.
Dignity is not a group of gay and lesbian Catholics who want to change their sexuality. We believe at Dignity that our sexuality is God's gift, and we celebrate that as we celebrate our religious heritage.
We're not changing anybody, so get used to us.
Our next segment is about a special party that was held on November 20th at the Fashion Institute of Technology, celebrating the 17th anniversary of the Defenders, which is...
There are outreach to the leather and Levi community within Dignity. The Defenders have been around for 17 years. It's hard to believe. And they gave a beautiful dinner and party at FIT, and it was fierce. And if you weren't there, you're not on the A list anymore.
That's me.
You should have been there because it was really fierce. They gave awards to the Long Island Ravens, not the Long Island Railroad, who I'm sure would deserve their own award, and also to David Samuel Menkes. And there were 3. I gave them. Who was the third? Oh, GMSMA, of course, my favorites. John Weiss and his people, who we adore, great members of the community. And we had Chris Quinn there, and we had all kinds of celebrities, and a very interesting MC.
And you were the MC, were you
I
not?
thought you'd never ask.
Knew it.
Yes, I was. And it was really great, so we'd like to show you a few scenes from that. We also had a great comedian, Chris Wallach, okay? You heard that name here first. Make a note of it. Wallach. He's great. Take a look at some of the things that happened that night.
Okay.
That's good, except I think this time was rag.
Fuck!
Scene 3, take
I'll
1.
start on this.
Okay.
Ready?
Who moved?
We did not. Okay. 5, 4, 3.
Did that look like fun or what? Except for one thing. That great comedian that I've been raving about, His name is Greg Wallach, not Chris. Greg, I'm really sorry, and you know how temperamental these performers are. So I apologize. It's Greg Wallach. Write the name down. We all
Remember that
will.
name.
Okay? I mean, you know how temperamental these people are. I would
Absolutely.
never get upset about something like that. Would you?
Never. Speaking of that, Greg, Will has a new book out, which we
Get the
promised
title right.
for 2 months that we would be talking about, and here we are. The time has come. The book is Wagner Without Fear, Learning to Love and Even Enjoy Opera's Most Demanding Genius.
I'll
Now-
interject already.
Yes.
I wanted to call it History's Most Demanding Genius. And my editor suggested maybe St. Paul might be a little more difficult. I didn't agree, but he
Well,
took it from there and
I-
kept it to Opera's Most Demanding
I
Genius.
think this is sort of scintillating enough. Now, I went and heard Will speak at a different light at an incredibly successful book signing last week. There was not a chair to be found. And you'll be happy to know that Will, who you know as our roving reporter, who speaks so well on our show, also writes so beautifully and in the same voice. I was actually astonished to see. I mean, you can actually hear Will saying every one of these sentences. But I must ask you, Will, as someone who lives in mortal fear of Wagner, why Wagner? Why now?
Well, okay. Basically, why Wagner? Partially because you say you live in mortal fear of it. And one of the points I'm trying to make here is you're living with this stuff in the world around you. You mentioned the movies that you go to, a million places. Even a lot of the things we talk about have a lot to do with Wagner, whether we know it or not. So I even say in the book, if your friends question your newfound interest in Wagner, just tell them, relax, you're soaking in it.
And tell them to buy the book.
Of course.
I said before we started the show that the three things I knew about Wagner before reading this book were that his operas were unendurably long, that his music was used in Apocalypse Now to scare the Vietnamese out of their socks, and that he hated Jews. Now,
My only issue with that would be unendurably. It's long, but it's endurable. Where else do you have to go?
well, see, that's
Yeah.
what I learned from reading the book. Now,
Give me a good plug here. This
here
is
we
good.
are
Thanks.
on, well, I love it, I have to say. The book, I should mention, since Will is too modest to do so, it gives a brief, crystal clear biographical sketch of Wagner's life, and then goes opera by opera, examining each of his main works and telling you what's important, why you should listen to it, where you should listen, where you should go to the bathroom, where you could actually go out and have dinner and come back and not miss much.
No, I didn't say that. I said other people did, but where to go to the bathroom, that's very important. You need that information.
Well, 6 hours, you got to pee at some point. But here we are on the Gay Catholic Hour, talking about Wagner.
Okay.
Now, how can we tie in this mad genius of the 19th century into gay Catholic life today? Is there a connection?
Well, Chris, I'm glad you asked. The first connection is that I wrote the book.
Yes.
So here we are. Okay.
Works for me.
Works for you. Okay, good. There are many connections, actually. He not only hated Jews, he hated Catholics. He goes on about it. Then, of course, for his final masterpiece, wrote Parsifal, which has got to be the most Catholic work of art ever conceived. Nietzsche threw a world-class fit over it. In fact, it was so Catholic. So, as we often see with Wagner, there are at least 100 sides to every story. But leaving that aside for the moment, the gay issues, I was surprised to find out how many of them there are in this, and I spoke about this at different light. Wagner was not gay. We wouldn't want him. If he were outed as gay, we would in him as straight because we don't
Put him
want
back.
him. Put him back. Yes, the one time in history. Close that closet door. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't issues that are important to queer people. His great benefactor, King Ludwig of Bavaria, my hero, was, of course, gay and Catholic, incidentally. So it was wonderful. You had the gay man in power paying for
The king.
The king, for the struggling straight artist.
Who had to suck up to him.
Yes, some would say literally. I don't think so, but be that as it may, that's another story. And then there are gay interpretations of moments in his operas. There are gay perspectives that I think the world really needs to hear about because they've heard every other perspective on these works. So they probably don't want us to do that, but I want to get out there and start talking about some of these things. And I put that out at a different light. I'm going to be in San Francisco next week, and we'll see what happens with that. So there might be a sequel to this, Wagner and Lavender or something. I don't know. I'll let you know, though.
Okay. Well, the book, again, is called Wagner Without Fear, Learning to Love and Even Enjoy Opera's Most Demanding Genius.
It's only $15, cheap.
$15, a beautiful trade paperback, just in time for the holidays. I promise you, if you know for that unbearable Wagnerite on your Christmas list, it's a perfect gift. And for the person like myself who knows nothing about Wagner, it's the perfect gift. It's entertaining.
In other
you'll
words,
laugh.
it's the perfect gift.
It's the perfect gift. You know what? Go to the store, buy 4 copies, and then decide who to give them to. That's
right.
what I would say.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $15 goodbye, and you'll have a
Exactly.
great time.
And come to Dignity on Sunday night, and Will sign them for you.
I'll kiss them with lipstick. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Scene 4, take 1. Thank you. Five, four, three.
One of the issues facing the church today is whether or not to have lay homilists. Now, I know that sounds really exciting to you, but in case you don't know, all that means is members of the congregation preaching the sermon instead of only having the clergy. There's actually an old tradition of this in the Catholic Church. St. Dominic used to walk up to people in the middle of the town square and point at them and order them to preach then and there. And you didn't say no to St. Dominic. I wonder what would have happened if St. Dominic had met one of our own, Brendan Fay, who, as we'll see, is quite capable of giving a sermon.
Yes,
What are we going to see here, Chris?
Well, I think St. Dominic must have been in the village on August 29th at the Northeast Regional Meeting of Dignity USA, because Brendan, one of our own, a member of our steering committee, very well known in the community, gave the homily at the Mass that afternoon. And I think we're going to take a look at that clip.
Okay. Perfect.
Are we okay?
How do we look?
What's your position? Scene 5.
Sorry about that, Chris.
Yeah, you're fine. Ready? All right, 5, 4, 3. Can't see your crowd. Yeah.
Now, what was this? He was just speaking? It wasn't a...
From 5, 4, 3.
Well, on Thursday, November the 12th, we had a historic event at St. Joseph's Church in the village when Bishop Gumbledon was invited to speak on gay and lesbian issues to a predominantly gay crowd. And Will, I understand you were there.
I was there, as were about 40 members of Dignity and a lot of other people. It was standing room only. It was very exciting. It was predominantly gay and lesbian crowd, mostly gay men, a couple of insane straight people, and a few others. And Bishop Gumbleton, who's the auxiliary bishop of Detroit, spoke on a new paradigm for ministry to gay and lesbian people. It was really exciting, and among other things, it was a question and answer period. First, he spoke about his personal journey from kind of, as he put it, ignorance to understanding a lot more. And there was a question and answer period, very exciting. And he actually did say in a Catholic church that he thought that a sexual act between two people of the same sex could have God in it, could be a wonderful thing. And this, I think, was a very historic moment. I think they'll be looking back on this. And, kind of like Stonewall when it happened was kind of big, but it looked bigger later when people realized what had happened. And I think we'll be hearing more about this. And I hope we can do some more about it. We're going to try and see what fallout there is and maybe talk to people who were there, because it was a really exciting event. And
Very
we'd like to
important.
thank St. Joseph's.
Absolutely, and very courageous on his part, really, for speaking out in a Catholic church and saying, speaking the truth.
Right. He doesn't have to. He is not gay, and so it's really a beautiful thing.
If you want to hear the truth spoken in a Catholic setting every week of
Every
the year,
week, right?
come on down to Dignity, New York.
Dignity New York meets every Sunday. Mass begins at 7:30, followed by a social.
We meet at St. John's in the Village on the corner of Waverly and West 11th Street, just west of 7th Avenue.
For more information, call the number on the screen, and if you can't find a pencil,
Don't panic.
I've always wanted to do that. I hope that went well. We're listed in the phone book under Dignity New York. Call us.
And watch us next month, same time, same station.
Till next time, be proud you're Catholic.
And be proud you're gay.
So long.
Okay.
Okay.